Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Shot Callers Live. I'm Chef Dunna. We got JT in the house, and we have another guest on the live. It's Wednesday, and Flojo is in the flesh with us, joining us. How we doing today, fellas?
What up?
Reporting live from DC. It's muggy as fuck out here.
Hey, the grind don't stop, baby. Coast to coast, it doesn't matter. The Cubano is in full effect.
It's the most. And what is the most too is that fantasy season is right around the corner, and we're gearing you up to be able to win your fantasy leagues and be able to draft the best startups, make the best trades, eat the most shit, and hopefully not die. And so we've got a lot of good stuff today. We will be talking about values on a bunch of different players. There's some scandals out there that y'all know too well, or maybe not at all. Dalvin Cook is still like Carmen Sandiego. Where in the world is Dalvin Cook? But he's probably not going to the Chargers. So let's see. I'd kind of like to start us off with a little the goatiest of goats at the tight end position. Kelce and Dynasty and how they correlate. What we got, JT? What we got here?
Well, I mean, look, he's 33 right now. He'll be 34, which kind of like gives a little sticker shock in Dynasty. But when you compare him to the other like tight end greats, he's still, if you measure him against them, he's still got a lot of games to go. I think he's at about the 140-ish mark. We did have a COVID season, so a little less wear and tear there. You know what? If you're still fading Kelce at this point, it's not a recipe for turning picks into dollars there. So I think Kelce is he's one of those unicorns, man. Ride him until he runs out. He's going to have to suffer something catastrophic for me not to want to roll with him. And I think he is severely undervalued in Dynasty.
Yo, so that's a solid take. The unicorn until he loses his special unihorn, right? You ride that boy as far as you can. I recently made a move. I acquired Kelce in a Dynasty League, and it is, man, it puts you in such a weird spot where, you know, people love him. They don't value him as they should. Some people do. I paid up for him, right? And I put my squad in a position to win now, right? And that's really what you have to do when you're running a Dynasty squad, man. You need to figure out what your identity is first and foremost, because if you don't know what you are, you're probably in a bad spot, right? So you're either young and you're going for picks, you're either old or you're trying to win a chip. I like to have a nice balance, but when I made the move to acquire the unicorn Zeus himself, right, you got to go all in. And, you know, I traded for Diggs. I gave up. I did a whole bunch of things to solidify my win now 2-year window. And that's the most important thing, in my opinion, is know what kind of squad you have in Dynasty, because the reality is, man, like I said, if you don't know, then you're in trouble, and you're kicking in the middle of the pack, and you're not benefiting from picks and young players, and you're not contending to win a chip. So what are you doing except donating your dough?
Donating dough. What up, JL Khan? How we doing? How we feeling? How we living? Tony Gonzalez averaged like 75 receptions, 850 yards from 33 to 37. Yeah, I mean, that's like reverting back to like second-year tight ends. I made a post about rookie tight ends not amounting to much. So, you know, I mean, that's still solid production from the tight end position, because it is a vast wasteland of mediocrity, just because they have to do more things than just catch the ball and run. So, like, I mean, I understand the sentiment of that he still produced then, and you know, I mean, it could happen with Kelce too.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing that's kind of like prevalent there is like if you took him in the last 3 years as the 101 in each of those drafts, you would be happy with what he produced. You'd be like, yep, this is a massive positional advantage. And again, it's kind of like with Derrick Henry. Like, I just don't want to bet against this guy. You want to worry about, there's sometimes you just got to throw like advanced analytics out the window in a way and just be like, It's very simple. Travis Kelce is amazing at football. He is so much better than everyone else at the position. Just run with it.
And look, I mean, so with getting into the like startups, right? Startup dynasty, like Flojo touched on, you gotta figure out where you are in your dynasty regime, right? You gotta see if you're contending, rebuilding, kind of middle of the pack, need to make some trades at the beginning or middle of the season to be able to contend. But what if you're in a startup? What if you're in a startup and trying to figure out your identity in the first couple rounds, right? Single quarterback, super flex, single. I mean, Kelce is going at the beginning of the second. In super flex, he's going in the early third round, right? Because all these quarterbacks are being drafted. And so you got to ask yourself, like, does this pick define my team right now? Does it define my team to go forward? And I think there's a middle ground and a savior here, right? There's taxi squad for a reason. And so what I have been doing lately is taking Kelce in the second or third round, depending on league specs, and then drafting a rookie like Dalton Kincaid, Sam Laporta, even Michael Mayer sometimes, to be able to have him on the taxi until Kelce needs to have his spot filled with a great prospect, or a supposedly great prospect, like Dalton Kincaid with Josh Allen. Josh Allen has many years to go, right? He should be getting better. And Dawson Knox could come, he could go. We don't know yet. So with that being said, like going forward, there is always an escape plan for these older players. It just depends on how the draft unfolds. You may have to reach a little bit for Kincaid because of his dynasty value. But going forward, if you do select Kelce in the early rounds, you have to back him up with a rookie.
I mean, that's a solid way to insulate risk. I would just say I'd push back on if you take Kelce early, I don't think you have to go contending with it. Say you could still go young. What's the worst that happens? Mid-season, you sell him for 2 first-round picks. Like, I think Kelce's independent. I think he's really in his own category.
I mean, and you got a point there, right? Like if you're stuck, you caught the injury bug, right? Your squad's not performing. You're looking to cut bait, and someone's a contender. They'll probably pay up to take Kelce and ride that wave to a chip. So that's the cool thing about Dynasty, man, is you can always pivot. But to Ben's point, right? Like your escape route, you know what I mean? It's going to look pretty empty when you're comparing it to Kelce, no matter, what young player you're trying to, plug into that situation. I get the move. But the reality is, man, is no one can replace that production. And, even if you have someone that's somewhat of a, young prospect, the reality is, man, is your escape route is going to look empty and you're going to fall down pretty deep trying to replace Zeus.
Yeah. I mean, only time will tell. And that's the gamble you have to take in Dynasty. But, if you can draft a well-rounded team with him, I mean, I think that you can figure it out. And I like both of your points. And speaking of points, all it takes is your pointer finger to smash that like, smash that subscribe, because it helps us help you. I got puns for days, man. I got puns for the nuns, man. They don't even know what hit them. So, smash that like, smash that subscribe. It really helps us out. We are here for the people. And let's get to our next segment. Speaking of values, JT, and we're not talking the Dynasty Don here. We're talking former RB1 of 2021 in Jonathan Taylor. I have seen him go as late as the early second in startup dynasties, and that's one quarterback. And that's just like crazy, right? But I've also seen him go middle of the pack in Dynasty. I know you have him as your RB3, right, JT?
Yes.
He's top 3. When
he's top 3. He's top 3. He's top 3 for me. I don't see how anyone could have Brees over him. You could have Bijan and maybe CMC, but I could even argue him over CMC.
Mm-hmm. And in redraft too, I mean, he's kind of back to where he was being drafted before his breakout season in 2021. Late first, early second. And do we see him replicating anything close to his 2021 season this year, or is he just a dynasty prospect?
I mean, so I'll jump in. As far as the dynasty prospect, man, you can't be a prospect once you put the season he put on tape. And I know, you got a lot of people like, yo, it was the worst RB1 season in the history of fantasy. And you got a lot of people that say stuff like that, right? But I was thinking about this, right? I'm in the camp of like, dynasty separate. Let's go redraft this year, right? And I know me and Ben briefly talked about Eckler, and you can paint that whichever way you want, but it's CMC Eckler. It feels like those are the safest 1-2s, right? When you get to 3, bro, like some people are taking Bijan, some people are taking JT, some people are taking Saquon. Tony Pollard's in the mix, Nick Chubb's in the mix. Like, to me, after those first 2 RBs, it's kind of like a no man's land, man. Like, it really feels like any of those players, are interchangeable. And I'm kind of like, right now maybe it's Saquon over JT, you know what I'm saying? And then, I want to slide in Tony Pollard, and then, Bijan's in the mix. So, like, I don't know exactly which way I'm going and what direction I want as of today, July 5th, right? We are getting close to draft season. And, I don't quite know where I'm dialed in yet, but I'm curious to what you guys think as far as like defined rankings after we get past 1 and 2. And is Eckler your automatic 2? I know Ben has some question marks. I'm curious, what do you think, Cubano?
I'm a big Eckler guy. I think Eckler's vastly overrated. I mean, underrated in Dynasty. Redraft, you can argue that he's the 101, even over like J. Jeff. I think he's got it's just the target share that he commands there is just second to none in terms of running backs. I really think people are sleeping on Taylor here. Especially remember where Miles Sanders was going last year, where he was 7th. I mean, in our draft, he fell to the back of the 9th, right? Yeah. Our redraft league, he fell I took him at the 9-12, and even that, I was like, ooh, I feel a little weird about it. Like I saw he really fell off. That's the system that Jonathan Taylor's getting. He's getting Shane Steichen. He's getting that kind of thing. So if we saw that jump with Miles Sanders, which I'm not trying to slander Miles Sanders, but he's not Jonathan Taylor. How can we not be excited about this? This it's the biggest coaching jump, in my opinion, going from Parks Frazier, who he could be the nicest, he could be the nicest guy in the world, but he should not have been calling offensive plays last year. Jeff Saturday shouldn't have been the interim head coach. So if we're going to take that logic for other guys, I don't see how it doesn't apply to Jonathan Taylor. The only reason that you fade Jonathan Taylor is if you're worried about his ankle injuries. Now, if you want to hit me with that, okay, but I'm not here to worry about everybody. Everybody's hurt in the league. Everybody gets dinged up.
I mean, you're thinking about his starting quarterback too, so that's another factor people are trying.
A-Rich. I mean, look at what Justin Fields did for the Bears running back room. Whatever running back they put back there was putting up numbers. So I think A-Rich helps them a lot. Now, the O-line, I don't know. The O-line, let's see if it bounces back. I think it's scheme-related, not talent-related.
I mean, the O-line was a top 5 O-line coming into last year, before all the injuries and everything.
And they lost their left tackle, Costanzo, and they haven't really replaced him adequately.
Well, wasn't Quentin Nelson injured too?
I mean, I think that whole everybody's hurt. Everybody's hurt in Indy. Everybody's hurt.
Everybody
because Parks whatever is their OC, so I'm faking an injury too. What back hurt, bro? Who is this guy?
It's like the guy in SpongeBob. My leg.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy. Like they announced he's the OC and no one knew who he was. He was like the assistant quarterback coach or something. Something crazy. Something where it was like, how are you calling plays?
He's throwing warm-up routes at practice, bro. Now he's
JL Khan is saying Indy O-line is not Philly O-line, would be a concern.
Sure. I mean, no one's the Philly O-line.
Yeah.
It's the best O-line in the league.
So, I mean, you're compensating there. I mean, if Jonathan Taylor had Philly's O-line, then he would probably never get injured. He would probably be the best running back ever to see everything. And, that's why teams are built around certain players. And, I mean, I don't think I think Jonathan Taylor makes up where Miles Sanders lacks in O-line play.
Well, I mean, Steichen was with the Chargers before, so we're talking about he's with Eckler and those guys. So he's running back friendly as an OC, very running back friendly. So I don't know the Chargers numbers off the top of my head, but I can't remember a year that the Charger running back position wasn't fantasy friendly.
Yeah, and welcome UTSA headline, big advocate for us, and I love your stuff too, man. Keep on keeping on. You know what I mean? He's saying the Philly O-line is fire, and yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. It's great. They lost a good guard in Malu, and it's like, yeah, we're still great.
Hey, the great part is that D-line is only going to make them better too. Their D-line is probably the most filthy in the entire NFL. So imagine daily work and practice trying to block those dudes. You're going to catch some D-tackles slipping, bro, and getting put on skates because they're not going to be the interior defensive lineman that they have. DNs too, man, you name it, man. They just got studs up and down, and they lost one to the Niners, and they drafted two guys that are pretty good at football. So.
Yeah, they lost Hargrave and replaced him with maybe the best defensive prospect in the draft. Must be nice.
We got Cheeseburger Carter going to the Philadelphia Eagles. Joe Kahn saying Eckler had a ton of TDs last year. He had like 20. I don't know what that means.
If I remember correctly.
Oh, okay.
Wow, yeah. Look at the Cubano. Look at him doing a JT on the all those things. What are those called? Abbreviations or
acronyms?
Yeah, acronym.
Yeah. So I mean, like you guys kind of briefly touched on Eckler. I'm on the other side. I don't think that he's going to produce what he produced the last 2 years. Unfortunately, I do like Austin Eckler a lot. Even though that we're all not high on Quentin Johnston, they still added him to the receiving core. And if you remember correctly, Austin Eckler got most of his pass catching when Mike Williams and Keenan Allen were hurt. I mean, Gerald Everett was hurt last year. And so there's a lot of mouths to feed. And I just think that the ability to have Keenan Allen to run a slant route instead of throwing it to Austin Eckler running a slant route from the backfield is two different things. And I think Keenan Allen has a final year of definitely better fantasy production than last year.
Hey, JT looks like he's got something to say, bro. Let him have it because I spun it a different way for Ben today, and it kind of backs up you Eckler being the 101. But go ahead. I want to hear what you got to say to
Well, I want to shout out JL. He's in the comments, and he pointed out something to me where Quentin Johnston runs a lot of intermediate routes, which he was bringing up. That might be perfect for what the Chargers offense needs, where you have Keenan as the short intermediate guy, and then you have Quentin Johnston running intermediate crossers, and then Mike Williams can be the jump ball, deep ball threat. All of that, in theory, makes sense, and I agree that in a perfect world that happens. I just don't think Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are going to make it through a season. I mean, Keenan's got a lot of miles on the odometer. If you get 10 to 12 games out of him, that's a win. So I just think Eckler, just by attrition, I don't see his target share going down. I think he's the best weapon in that offense, independent of scheme. You have Kellen Moore coming in, who does run a fairly creative scheme. I just think I don't know, man. I like Eckler. I think what's the worst that happens? He catches 80 balls. He's still going to be a top 3 guy in terms of redraft. I think he's probably the safest guy to me. Like if he's your RB1, I think that's the safest choice in redraft. Dynasty is a whole other conversation, but we're just talking about redraft right now.
So I spun it as far as Kellen Moore coming from the Cowboys, right? Zeke and Tony Pollard. If you combine both of those dudes' numbers and give it all to Eckler, because we were talking about Isaiah Spiller, like we all hope, man, he was a decent prospect. JT, you can speak to that because I was kind of excited about the dude. My man got in the league, struggled with the high ankle, sputtered out the rest of the year. We don't know where he is on the depth chart. What's his name? Kelly's not great, but he gets run. Right? There's literally nobody behind this man. On this
Larry
squad,
Roundtree, 2023.
Larry Roundtree. Right? There's not much in regards to that. But I get what you're saying. Like, can these receivers stay healthy? Right. And the reality is betting that they do, the odds probably aren't great. But also, I think Keenan finished wide receiver 6 overall over like the last 6 or 7 last season. So my man still got some left in the tank. Right. Quentin Johnson, I don't know where exactly he fits in until someone gets hurt. Right. I was with Ben during the draft and we're like, Zay Flowers, please, to the Chargers. Like, to me, that was the perfect fit because he does essentially what Keenan does. Keenan has a couple left. But my man, Zay Flowers, is a better prospect, in my opinion, and he did not go there. He went to a Baltimore team where, is he the most talented? You can argue that, right? But there's just so many other people, and Mark Andrews is probably the one there. And Lamar versus Herbie as a passer, we don't obviously think that's an upgrade, But I'm just like, I'm slowly getting to Eckler as, for sure the 2. I don't know if I can take him, as the 1 at CMC because you want to talk about, possible injuries, whatever. Like Eckler's ripped his hamstring off his leg and he came back in like 4 legs. You could say maybe he's a little tougher than CMC, but my man's still getting up there in age and he does get hurt as well. So I don't know if I can give him the 1 because it just feels like the upside's a little bit less than CMC. But to whoever homeboy mentioned about QJ, right? Like like he's only way he slides in is if one of these dudes goes down. And to me, he wasn't the right fit for the Chargers. But hey, what do we know, bro? We're sitting on our computer chairs on a what is it, Wednesday at 5:30 talking about we ain't getting paid for it, but sometimes we know, seems like we know more than these other guys, man, but I guess who knows.
Yeah, I really didn't like the Quentin Johnson pick, but I think Telesco is a fairly good drafter. He's had some tough spots there, and he's typically made the right choice. I'm irrationally down on anything TCU related for fantasy. If you went to TCU, I just immediately throw it in I'm probably wrong at this point. But like
Tomlinson, bro.
What about Kendre Miller?
Well, didn't Kendre Miller transfer? Or no, he stayed. I'm just confusing him with Zach Evans. Well, the
only reason Zach Evans played is because Kendre Miller was injured last year.
Gotcha. Anything TCU related, I'm just like, I'm out.
It's like
Daniel went to TCU.
That just doesn't come.
Hey, JT got Max Dugan on 3 of his dynasty squads. No front.
No, I have Stetson Bennett though. I have Stetson Bennett rostered.
I mean, he's the Rams camp hype right now. It's him and Puka. Bro,
I got Stafford as a 3 on a squad, and I got Stetson on my taxi, bro. Let's go.
that guy's living the life. 26 years old, 10 years of college, no college degree.
Hey, he's got check marks galore, bro. Let's be real.
Yeah, 100%. Proud of him.
Since we do this every episode, any Dalvin Cook landing spot updates?
Miami. It's still going to be Miami.
Okay.
Hey, the odds shifted. Them and New England are both plus 250.
No.
So New England is plus 250 along with Miami, as well as D-Hop possibly going to New England. Did you see? Shout out NFL Mike. He had a dope video. He had jersey swaps, and he said Bill Belichick, the mastermind everyone wrote off, may just be pulling off the ultimate free agent signing, getting D-Hop and Dalvin on the squad when they'll still finish 4th in the division because they're garbage.
Hot garbage.
Because mac and cheese.
Wait a minute.
Mac and cheese is running the ship, bro, and that's a bad look.
Wait a minute. What about
QB2 and Superflex this year?
Yeah. Shout out to all the people who took Ramondre in the back half of the first round for the last month.
Or traded for the Dynasty and gave up a 1+.
Oh!
I know.
So let's see. Let's go to late round startup QBs. I was in I still am drafting in a 1 QB league, and JT and I were talking, and like it was like the third round, and like all the quarterbacks were still available, right? Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, everyone. And I'm looking at all the talent, and you kind of have to attack it like a redraft league. Like there are players that you can draft in the later rounds. And I made a trade and had a few extra picks in the 9th round, and I was able to get Dak in the 9th round. And to be able to solidify younger talent in other positions, you can kind of just filter out a quarterback from time to time because they will fall in your rookie drafts in years to come. What do you guys think about late round startup quarterbacks in 1 QB leagues?
I'll defer to you on that one, Flojo. I'm a super flex guy, so one QB. My strategy is I don't draft QB. I just wait till the end. Yeah. I just don't draft it.
So look, man, and you know, super flex is the new thing, and there's very few leagues where there are single quarterbacks. But so just, you know, as Ben's talking through the situation, my first thought was I'm waiting on Jared Goff, and I'm taking Hendon Hooker, and I'm locking up the Lions QB room for however many more years Jared Goff has, right? Because to me, like, Jared Goff could flirt with, you know, top 8 to 10 numbers, bro. And like, he was written off and he balled out last year. Shout out to Amon-Ra, the sun god, right? Who could be sneaking into the top 5 now, bro. Like, you know, the hype is real. His production is real, right? And I was not a fan, bro. I had to eat crow on Amon-Ra quite a bit, and because of like, oh, dude's tiny, bro. What kind of slot receiver could do work and finish as a 1? You know, how many touchdowns can he really catch? And my man just constantly, you know, gave it back to me right in my nose. And you know, but just first thoughts, you know, Dak is okay. They had a breakdown, right? Dak and Kirk Cousins, literally identical stats over their entire careers thus far in the league, right? Good franchise quarterbacks, good leaders, squeaky clean. They're not going to cause any drama, right? They're going to say the right things. You know, they'll lead people, but neither of them have been able to get to the promised land, man. And we all know if you can't win a chip, no one cares about you. So they're eerily the same, as much as I know JT loves Captain Kirk. Him and Kirk have the same numbers. I'm not mad at Dak, bro. I just personally won't draft him. In a single QB league, in my opinion, you either reach for the top 3 dudes or you punt, to JT's point, and scoop a Goff. You know, you scoop a player like Tua and then solidify with maybe some young options, but you are not wasting early round picks unless you're getting, you know, Patty, J.A. or Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, man. The top 3 guys solidified for me in 1 QB leagues. You either get the top cream of the crop or you punt.
And yeah, I also think roster size comes into play there. So I don't know how many are starting, but that would definitely come into play. If I was in if Dynasty 1 QB league, which I would have to be checked for a stroke afterwards. Lamar would probably be my target. I'm trying to buy all the Lamar shares low. Lamar is that difference maker, and I'm really excited to see what he does in an offense similar to what he did at Louisville. Instead of the Greg Roman, we're just going to run 3 yards in a cloud of dust, which, Flojo, you're familiar with, San Francisco.
Absolutely, and so I think like, this will be a good test for Lamar, in my opinion, right? Can he transition? Can he pivot? You know, starting to make me question Chef Ben Dunna's J.K. Dobbins love, because I fell in love with Dobby too. And it's like, is my man going to be stuck at 13, 14 carries a game and they're just going to throw it all over the yard in this new offense, to your point? And it's like, can Lamar take this next step, right? Can Lamar be that dude, right, that can dime up and break everyone off around the field, short, intermediate, long, you know, read defenses and do what he needs to do to stay efficient? Like, I believe, you know, and I'm with you, but this will be, you know, like that pivotal moment in this man's career. It's like, we know you can do those other things, but can you run a different scheme in a different offense and be able to facilitate and dime receivers up, which technically hasn't been your strength in your career? So I'm pretty curious myself, but I believe.
I'm excited. I've rewatched the Clemson Louisville game, him versus Deshaun Watson, and if you guys haven't watched that, instant classic, go back and watch. That's what I think we're going to see out of both guys this year. That game, it's a hell of a game to watch. Don't look at the final score if you haven't seen it yet. It's an awesome game. It's literally just tape delight.
So, live draft suggestion. I'm on the clock. Romeo Dobbs or Romeo Dobbs, Wan'Dale Robinson, or the ghost of Michael Thomas in the 14th?
Dynasty?
Wandale.
Yeah,
I like
that's what I
Wandale
thought.
too. Dom type's kind of real, but is Jordan Love? That's the question.
I'm out on Dobbs. He slandered Aaron Rodgers. I'm out.
I mean,
he slandered Aaron Rodgers. I'm out.
Hey, bro, but let's be real. That's an easy dude to slander. So,
I mean,
hey, take it easy.
Hey, are you inviting A-Rod to your family Thanksgiving? I don't think so.
I mean, shit. If he wants to do some psychedelics, I'm down.
I knew you were going to say that. How did I know you were going to say that? I knew.
Hey, man, I'm down.
The next dimension.
So, speaking of scandalous stuff, we have some scandal values that you can capitalize on. And scandals, who's in a scandal? At least 2 NFL players every year. And this year, we still have Alvin Kamara awaiting suspension. We have Joe Mixon as well, awaiting suspension or not. And then we have the most recent candidate, the cheetah, the cat himself. So
we got to add JT to that because my man just blacked out his camera doing some scandalous stuff.
I put in a bid on Travis Kelce. Sorry, guys. Live auction. Just trying to get that Kelce burger.
Nice.
So I guess we can start with Tyreek Hill because it's the most relevant, or at least most like it happened that the NFL is going to investigate it more in the coming weeks. What do we think? Does he drop in value in redraft?
If he does, scoop him. I mean, we saw a situation where, let's look at Kamara, right? Kamara, we have the photos. That's what freaked everybody out. We thought he got charged. He is still in court about it. Conversely, with Tyreek, it's mostly just a hearsay kind of thing. He's not being charged. We already know that the other party is not pressing charges. I don't see this. He seems kind of in the clear on this one. If there's any kind of drop, I'm scooping it.
Mm-hmm.
I concur. I think like Tyreek isn't talked about enough as far as being the overall wide receiver 1 this year. And, my man is just so explosive. You know what? Speaking of old school games, bro, I watched Chiefs Chargers the first full season him and Patty played together. And I don't know if you remember, like the first play of their first drive of the season, my man ran like, a 7-yard under and housed, right? And I was like, Patty's not accurate. I don't know how it's going to work with Tyreek. And I was like, damn, like it's just like that, bro. And like, we all saw it last year. We all know the type of player Tyreek is. But if you're in any type of bonus league, 40 touchdown bonus, 40-yard touchdown bonus leagues, like this dude really needs to be in the conversation as the overall one because of how explosive this man is. And he didn't lose a step, right? He slid in and balled out, on the Dolphins last year when Tua was healthy. When Tua wasn't healthy, it don't matter, bro. Get this dude the rock in space and it's a wrap. Nobody's catching this dude. Throw up the deuces, peace sign one time. And like my man is a special player. But I really think, man, he doesn't get as much love as maybe he should in regards to being in the conversation, bro. Because yeah, I know he's top 4. Some will argue you could put him in front of Cooper Kupp, and I ain't mad at Kupp either. But I just feel like Tyreek doesn't always, get the love that he deserves, even though he's a perennial top 5 receiver. But he's a straight baller, bro, 100%.
Best ball redraft. He's my 101. Best ball.
How could you not? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like
yeah, best ball. He's a god. Not that I'm complaining about putting him in a lineup. JL said there was an update that charges are still being filed. Even with that, obviously I'll have to go check that out. But even with that, we saw Kamara's thing get drawn out and postponed. I don't think it'll affect Tyreek's redraft value for this year, but definitely got to stay abreast of anything going on there.
Abreast.
Yeah, show me yours.
We got to get to 100 subscribers first. We're getting close.
Yeah, we get 100. Let's do it.
Today's. So speaking of subscribers, hit that subscribe, hit that like button if you would. So please, that would be the best.
The only news was that he open hand slapped a dude in the back of the head.
And they were saying it was for money.
He said, I could buy this boat times 10, homie. Better let me on this boat.
Damn.
And
that Miami life is different.
It really is. It truly is. So, and lastly, Joe Mixon. I know we just Flo just made a video about Joe Mix, Bro Mix, the third.
Mix, baby.
So JT, what are your thoughts on Mixon?
I've been so out on Mixon. But you hit different points in the offseason. I think the points that Flo made are valid. Where if he repeats last season, then his ADP is criminal. Like it's an absolute steal. Right now, anyone saying that they know that this or that's going to happen with him, you just gotta kind of look at what he's still on the roster. It doesn't look like they're going anywhere else. And me, even being the biggest of Chase Brown fans, can't sit here and tell you that Mixon isn't going to get, 200 carries this year. And 200 carries in that offense is very valuable. I'm coming around on Mixon. I think Mixon is starting to hit a value inflection point that is hard to ignore. I was out on him when he's getting taken in the second round because that's where it was at the beginning of this season. Guys are taking him in the second round. They're taking him in the third round. But if he falls to round 4, kind of like pick 50, I mean, it's sometimes you just got to take. That's a chance I'll take. You know what I mean?
I mean, so I here's what I think, bro. Right? You got franchise quarterback in Joe Burrow, right? You mean to tell me they're going to trust a rookie running back in pass pro with a player like Joe Burrow with the offensive weapons that they have? Like, to me, we all have to speculate, but the reality is, bro, you're not going to trust a rookie running back to pass pro for a Joe Burrow on this type of offense, right? To me, you follow what the team does. They did everything to show you that Mixon ain't going to get suspended this year. Next year, maybe at the end of the season, who knows? But in my opinion, you don't let Samaje Perine rock, and you don't trust a rookie running back to protect your guy, bro. Like, Joe Burrow is your guy. And to me, that's the only reason why I feel so comfortable. If we don't get any news, man, early third is probably where Mixon's going to land. And I feel like that's still, obviously it's not a round of value that you can capitalize on now. But to me, that's still, RB1 territory in the third, about par for the course, right? You could possibly go with some other upside because, when I broke it down and I watched the tape and I got into the Met, he didn't look great running the ball last year, bro. If we want to be real and we want to really analyze this cat's game, running, I'm just running into the line, I'm getting 3 yards and I'm falling down. But you got my man in space. My man had a grip of catches. I think it was, 13th in receptions, something like that. He was nice with it. He fits the offense well. They give him the rock on the goal line. And, I just can't see a world where you're and Chase Brown's a decent player. He's still 5th round draft capital. You are not trusting Joe Burrow in life in the hands of a Chase Brown, in my opinion. And that's kind of what to me, it says more of what the team hasn't done versus what they have done.
I like it. And so that brings us to our next segment. If this thing, there we go. And, we got to figure out where it is or what it is.
Put the gun down.
I saw you with the box. What was in the box?
Because I envy your normal life.
Put the gun down, David.
It seems that envy is my sin.
No, what's in the box?
Not till you give me the
What's
gun.
in the fucking box?
Give me the gun.
What is in the box, people?
4-letter word. I think Justin Timberlake said it. Anyway.
So what's in your box there, JT?
No, I'm still trying to get that elite shout there, Flo. What do you mean? Who am I selling?
Uh-huh.
Am I going to break ranks here? I think I'm starting to lean towards taking the 3 first-round picks for Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson hype has reached a point where like it's hard to ignore.
Traitor.
Just
Traitor. Traitor.
It's hard to see how, like, I think we're really like, I think he's reached a point where it's like, I think I saw a startup where he went over Chase and like I almost spontaneously combusted. But it's at a point where his valuation right now is like, you could sell him for Jalen Waddle plus, which is what? Like, I don't understand that. That makes no sense. They're the same guy to me. They're both amazing, elite dynasty building blocks. But if you're going to sit here and really try to tell me like, oh, Garrett Wilson's way better than Jalen Waddle, it's like, on what merits? Jalen Waddle's put up back-to-back wide receiver 1 seasons, and he's got the superior play caller, and he's more foolproof in PPR. So,
Ben's going to look what's in his box. What's in your box?
What's in the box?
I love that call. Go continue, bro, because I actually really like that call on a piggyback.
Yeah. I also think the other guy for me is Pitts. I think Pitts is still being traded at near first round startup capital. And I don't see it. I just don't see it, man. I don't see him turning that kind of profit at the position.
So look, I love the Garrett Wilson call, bro. Like it wasn't a dynasty. It was a redraft, super flex. I got a bunch of Amon Ra, right? Amon. I like to call him just Amon. The Ra doesn't flow very well with the way I pronounce stuff. I just like to call him
dog
Amon.
or nah dog.
You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of Amon, and I'm like, I took Garrett Wilson. I took Garrett Wilson. I was the 1-on-1. I took Patty in a super flex, and I took him and Ramondre at the turn. And I want to sell, bro. I really do, because there's some people that believe like this dude's going to be Devontae Adams, and like I don't see it. Is he legit? Yes. Is he an amazing prospect? Yes. Did he ball out with terrible QB play? Yes. Right. But Aaron Rodgers in the twilight, he wasn't very good last year, bro. Like people want to remember the Aaron Rodgers of the past. And is he still one, top 3 or 4 thrower of the football in the NFL? Yes. My man can still spin it. He is nice with it, but he isn't the same. And guess what? That kind of chemistry that he had with Devontae Adams doesn't just show up and magically appear. I don't care what OTAs or what type of work you put in the offseason. That's years, bro. That's years of knowing exactly where that player is going to be. Like, I trust you to be here. I've thrown so many routes to you. I know exactly where you are in your 3rd step, your 4th step, in your break, how you're selling routes, how you position yourself. You're giving me the perfect window to put the ball in. I know that as a quarterback, right? He doesn't have that yet with Garrett Wilson, bro. And we're already projecting him to score 16 touchdowns, 18 touchdowns like Devontae. And that's
tough.
Yeah, I'm struggling to get there because he is a really good player. But where he's going and we're over Chase, bro. Like you said, spontaneously combust. You're smarter than me, bro. The words come off a lot more smoother. But the reality is it's the same thing. And I don't know where I'm at, bro. So I think I might, cast it out and reel it in and see what I can get, and maybe just get a little bit more of my boy Amon.
I offered Amon-Ra straight up for Garrett Wilson in a sharp league, and I was told it wasn't close.
I don't know.
I was just like, it's kind of so like you said though about Devontae, that if you look at Devontae's like stat sheet, it's not like Garrett Wilson obviously coming into the league better prospect than Devontae, but it still took Devontae 3 years before he like popped, where we were like, oh shit, he's a guy. Granted, different situations, not everything's the same. Still though, like Garrett Wilson almost has to come in and put up 110 catches for 1,500 yards, and that might be a disappointment.
Says the Jets fan.
I have
20
and 1,400.
If you look at FanDuel,
20 touchdowns?
No, I said
120
catches, 1,400 yards, and I have like 11 touchdowns because the
FanDuel
red zone.
FanDuel, and this is after the Rodgers trade, had his receiving yardage, I think, over under 1,100. I think that's closer to a realistic view of what's going to happen.
And I'm pretty sure touchdowns was over under 9.5.
Yeah, that's it's not a little. Scoring 10 tutties in the league is you're a guy. I don't care if you get an extra game. You score 10 tutties, you're a guy.
Tutties are in the box.
My boxy play is Saquon.
You're taking the box?
Huh? Yeah.
You're taking the oh shit.
I'm taking
what
the
kind
box
of box
over
you
Saquon.
getting?
Especially if you're contending for the last year, like obviously don't, but I mean, I think you can get first like draft capital and younger players for Saquon if a team is contending. I mean, I think you can get picks and Ramondre for Saquon, and I would take that.
I don't want Ramondre.
You're not going to get a 1. Are you going to get Ramondre and a 1 for Saquon? I don't know if someone's paying that. And are you really going to, like, to me, I'd much rather have Saquon than Ramondre in a 2. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. Even if Dalvin Cook doesn't go there, you know? To me, bro, like, and I've been a Saquon truther, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't like him. We got one friend in particular. He's bald. He doesn't like him very much. And I just like, you know, I just love how my man, you know, he took back what was rightfully his last year, right? The year before was so fluky when he caught that ankle and he was just about to blow up. And people are saying he's injured. Nah, man, like Saquon's a special player, dude, and he showed that again last year. And let's talk about this holdout real quick too, bro, because it's criminal, right? What's happening to the RB position? Like for real, you got kids growing up. They're like, I ain't playing running back, right? No one wants to play running back in the NFL anymore, and I get it, right? You can find a guy you can plug and play. It's the most easily replaced position in the league. I understand that, but this is these dudes' livelihoods, bro. That second contract is what sets them up and their families for the rest of their life, right? And we talk about these players like, no one cares anymore, bro. Yeah, thank you. You know, I appreciate the last 5 years of you, you know, basically killing yourself for this franchise. We will not extend you or pay you and give you the money that you're looking for. So there has to be a breaking point, bro. I wish, like, I mean, I don't know if you can take it to whatever level, but there should be like, you know what, going forward, this is the minimum and the maximum for a player who has produced at this level to where, like, we have to pay you, you know, 10 million, 11 million, whatever it is. There's got to be a bar because these dudes deserve their dough. Is it 15 mil anymore? No, right? I really feel like that ship is gone and left, and Zeke took all the dough with him, right? And he never looked back, and he didn't bring anyone on his boat. He didn't throw a life raft, right? He just took all the dough and ran.
A lot of guys got fed.
But like, you know, from the most recent, I guess, examples that I can think of. But it's just sad, bro, because these dudes, you know, Jacobs, Saquon, I don't know why Dobbins threw himself in the mix holding out. Like,
that was a weird one.
What are you doing?
J.K. Dobbins is just Stewart from Mad TV. Look what I can do.
No, well, you know, it's the crazy part about Dobbins is his neighbor is Eric DaCosta. He is literally next door neighbors with Eric DaCosta, the Ravens GM. So they're like best friends. He's over at DaCosta's house all the time. So I don't know. Maybe he was promised something.
Oh.
I don't see how he thought he was in that class, to be honest with you. But in terms of Saquon, man, the way that I look at him, I don't even really look at him as a running back. The guy's just an offensive weapon.
Yeah,
he's just
good point.
And those kind of guys you want to see get paid. Like I said, I really thought the Dimes contract was kind of out of whack. I get you don't want to like turn into Washington where you let Kirk Cousins go and then you're in QB purgatory for the last 8 years.
Or Joe Namath for about 55 years.
But if I'm Saquon, man, I'm looking at Danny Dimes is getting 40. What the hell am I worth? Yeah, what the hell am I worth? like that's tough sell for me. Maybe he gets traded to Denver, traded for Javonte.
Come on, bro.
Spice.
What?
Hey, man. Sean Payton, baby.
Why is it spicy?
So spicy.
I mean, it makes sense to me.
It's just if someone's gonna pay you, bro,
Someone's going to trade for him.
Yeah.
Someone's going to trade for him. Someone's going to trade for him.
Go get your bag.
And speaking of spiciness, this next segment will show you that the spice is left on the team that is trying to trade for your spice in this segment.
Oh God, I'm gonna have diarrhea again. It's okay. Mom, bathroom, bathroom, bathroom.
Oh, that's a big boy, isn't he?
Yo, is that new? Because that's ridiculous.
That is one of the most infamous South Park commercials episodes ever.
Is that new to eat shit and die, or you guys have been playing that?
No, that is new. That is
Amazing.
That's the debut.
That is the treat I had for you all.
That was amazing. I wasn't expecting all that. Nice
Oh,
work,
it's such
Benny.
a good boy. So the Eat Shit and Die segment contains trades that are so bad that you want to accost someone physically and mentally, but can only do it mentally because you probably don't even know them if you're in the same league as them. So it's basically trades that are really, really bad in layman's terms. And the first one that I have is a trade that actually went through and was accepted in a newer Dynasty league that I'm in. And it is so bad that I almost pulled an Eric Cartman. Raheem Mostert, Jelani Woods, and 2024 second, a 24 third for Pat Freiermuth and Ramondre Stevenson.
No.
Wait,
No.
you said that went through?
Yeah.
Yo, that's carbon diarrhea.
Wait, what?
I guess there are times where a veto should be allowed.
And so basically the commissioner talked to the guy that was they basically took off Freiermuth and replaced the 2 and the 3 with a first or some shit. I don't know.
Dog, let me in that league. Let me in. Eric Andre style. Let me in.
So I don't think we need to really talk about that one.
Dog, that's not even enough for Freiermuth. That's not even enough for Muth.
I know. And that's a tight end with like half a quarterback.
Hey, Jelani Woods is nice though, bro. Let's be real.
I mean, I do like me some Jelani Woods, but like, come on,
like
man.
Jelani Woods.
That guy that sent Freiermuth and Ramondre has a loose end now. He ain't got no tight ends.
That's
Blasted.
that's definitely a fact.
Damn.
The next
Should
one
get sponsored by KY Jelly.
Slide in.
like that 90 songs Glycerine, except it's Vaseline.
Oh.
The next one we have is Isaiah Likely, Deontay Johnson, and a 24 second for Kyle Pitts and a 24 third.
This went through?
No.
Oh.
This one's a little closer, but still.
I feel like this is closer to a crack kills.
Yeah, it's definitely a crack kills.
So is that an upgrade to Eat Shit and Die?
Yes.
What's crack kills?
It's like in between.
Okay.
Like so the way I look at it, if someone sends me a shit offer, my tier 1 is no counter necessary. Like just decline, no counter necessary. That's the polite way of saying you're not close. Second is crack kills. You should not do that. Third
That's on
is
your birthday.
Eat Shit and Die. Eat Shit and Die is the highest tier level that you can get to.
Okay, so I told Ben I had a pivot for this segment, and maybe you want to get to one more deal, Benny, or spit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. I think I have one more. Yeah. This is actually from Lady Shot Caller. She was offered Swift, Judy, the 12-10, a 14-2, and a 14-6 for Justin Jefferson and Brian Robinson.
Heater.
Do you need aspirin? Do you need an aspirin,
Bro,
JT?
the balls to fucking put Brian Robinson on top of Justin Jefferson.
What B-Rob do, bro? He ain't trying to hurt nobody.
The fucking balls. I have
I can
nothing.
tell you who those picks turned out to be as well.
No, it's okay.
I'm kind of intrigued.
So
Darnell Mooney.
So here's the deal. Here's my pivot, JT, and I respect managers like yourself, but I want to throw out a little tidbit. Okay, in my opinion, someone sends you even an eat shit and die offer, crack kills offer, no counter necessary. However you want to tier the offers, right? There's so many other ways to approach this instead of just ignoring and being like, eat shit and die, right? So I accept the shitty offer, but my counter isn't eat shit and die, bro, right? My counter is this. Hey, man, appreciate the offer. We're kind of far apart. What do you think about this, right? And I'm pulling them in, right? And I'm hugging the eat shit and die. I'm giving you a hug, bro. Like your values are terrible. I'm sorry you view players this way. Come here, give me a hug, right? And I'm hugging them, yeah. And I'm, making a little pat on the butt. And now I'm taking them by the shirt, bro, and I'm driving them to wherever I want to go. Because in my opinion, when you're talking about deals, we're talking about people, right? I don't like trashing anyone's players. There comes a point where you lash back and it just goes sour and goes to eat shit and die, right? When you're just completely off and your evaluations make no sense. And I have no clue if you watch football at all and you believe Brian Robinson makes that kind of deal. Right? There's some people you can only hug so much and you got to let them go, right? But the pivot is, right? Take that shitty offer, right? Don't bash, don't say anything. Hey, man, I appreciate the offer. Not too close, but what did you think about this? And now I'm driving that person into a deal that I want to do, right? That's going to be closer. That's going to be better. That obviously I'm trying to win, instead of completely severing or not even engaging in that conversation. Because in my opinion, that's one of the best parts of fantasy, bro. Now I can talk to you. I can get to know you. Maybe you got a kid. Maybe this is your first year playing. Maybe you're jaded and you don't understand the way the game, whatever it is. Now I know, right? And during the season now, I can remember that. Like, hey, Benny, I know you got something in your box. I've been looking over your roster, right? I got something for you, bro.
How you doing down there?
Yeah, yeah. Dust that thing off. But that's just the take.
100%. This is a build up to it. You don't just like lead off with that, like with people you don't know, like being like just an absolute troll. I think a lot of it is context. I think I've said eat shit and die. I typically only say it to people I know, where it's like, come on, dog, like you know better than that. I don't think have I said it to you, Ben?
You've said it.
You said it to yourself when you didn't take T-Law.
No, you've said you're lucky I didn't say eat shit and die a few times.
All right, well, me and Ben know each other.
Eat shit and die here, but you're lucky I love you, and I didn't say it.
That does not sound like me, but
so
some variation.
You saying it.
I guess that we should put the disclaimer of you only say this when you've exhausted everything and there's absolutely no angle, because just because you don't get a trade done immediately, you don't want to grudge with someone that you've never met before, you don't know, you've never seen them, you're behind a computer screen. This is like when someone's like continuously trying to send you Antonio Gibson and Mike Evans for Justin Jefferson. It's like, all right, man, like, and I'm saying this is like 8 trade exchanges down.
Right.
This originated in I was in a best ball league, and this guy kept trying to send me his rookie 2, 3, 4 for startable guys. I think he was trying to send his rookie 2, 3, 4 for I think it was specifically Jamar Chase. And I was like, dude, like, what's your deal? Like, going your approach. Like, what's your deal, man? Like, do you really think, like, would you accept this? That's my standard go-to line. Like, would you accept this if you were me?
Are you not feeling
And
all right? Do you have a tummy ache?
well, I think that's the fairest way to go about it. Like, hey, if you were in my position, would you accept this? Like, no, then why are you sending it to me? Like, look, especially like in the beginnings of a startup, send out brain dead offers. You might get them. My only thing about it is, and I send them myself, I send terrible trade offers to everybody. I need to know where you're at. I need to see if I need to test people. I need to know. But my thing is, if someone wants to roast me for it, if someone wants to be like, that's a terrible trade, like yada, 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 I eat it. I'm okay with it. Like, I'm totally fine. Anyone who's in any league with me knows, as much as I will roast somebody, I welcome them roasting me. I'm totally fine with it. It goes both ways. It's not just I'm sitting here on like some throne or like on some high horse. Like, no. Roast me, say whatever you want. I'm here for it. This is an outlet from real life. It's fantasy.
So and I just thought of this too. If we got into it and it got a little sour, first thing that came to mind is the Dynasty Don JT Cubano, right? I'd be like more like the Cubano Missile Crisis.
Yeah. No. If they knew my name, I'm Sleeper, I'm Ric Flair. So they usually just hit me with those memes, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. It means nothing to me.
I mean, I guess to tie a bow on it, and then you can jump in, Benny. Sorry, is the reality is, bro, is like there's always an opportunity. There's always a relationship to build and to grow from, because you're probably going to be in other leagues with these dudes, right? The people still don't learn and they send trash, of course, right? But now it's like, here you go again, bro. There's even the here you go again, bro, is better, in my opinion, than eat shit and die, right? Because if I always have an ulterior motive of how I'm going to take you and I'm going to spin you, bro. I'm the O lineman. I'm getting under your pads and I want to pancake your ass right into a deal that makes my team better, right? I can drive the ship. I could steer the boat, and I could come with me, bro. I'm giving hugs and I'm bringing you with me. But I always got a plan, bro. And trust me, I'm not using the KY on myself, if you feel me.
Call it Flojo's Lemonade.
Hey, bro, a little thick.
Flojo's Jelly. It's extra cherry.
Yeah.
Whoa. Whoa. Oh, I like whoa.
Come on, we're talking about poop, right?
Were we?
I mean,
No,
the segment is literally called Eat Shit and Die.
Oh, I thought this was an Odell Beckham kind of thing.
Are we on an airplane?
We're talking about poopers, though.
So that wraps up another episode of Fantasy Shot Callers Live. I'm Chef Dunna. Flojo, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a fucking blast. JT, as always, your Dynasty Don. Go follow Flojo on Instagram and TikTok at Flojo, because he's got the flow and he's Joe. And
But hey, it is my real name, unlike some people on this in this piece. You feel me?
I've got about 8 names that the government will never know about.
Yeah.
So again, hit that or smash that like, smash that subscribe. We love y'all. We do it for you. So thanks for coming out and keep coming out. Superflex Sundays is on Sunday, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Safe Space on Mondays, 5:30. We're doing another mock draft. So we got mock drafts galore to get you ready, to stay ready, to be ready. So y'all know what it is. Fantasy is life. Jesus Christ. And hit that like and hit that subscribe if you don't mind. Peace and love, y'all. And keep it pushing.